Fox News, the Bible, and tantric sex.
No.
Welcome to The Word. I'm Jakob Music, and this is my interview with author CK Brooke for the second time. The first time was lost to history when Google decided to mute the audio. And then my subsequent hashtag campaign, free the video, did not work, and I did not get my video back. But CK Brooke was nice enough to come back and talk a little bit about her book. Welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back on The Word and doing another interview.
Well, thanks for having me again and your determination to put this interview out there.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the entire reason you're here about your book?
The entire reason I'm here about my book?
No, the entire reason you're here, comma, your book, period.
Oh, okay. So,
like your book. Tell us about your book.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, the Duchess Quest is my debut novel. Woo! Yeah, I'm prepared. It's my debut novel. It's a fantasy romance about three men on an adventure quest to seek a lost duchess and eventually compete to marry her.
Yeah, and so how did you first come upon your skill of writing, or how did you know that that was something that brought you joy, that you wanted to do? How did you first know that?
Oh, ever since I was a little kid, ever since I first learned how to write, I've been writing books, and my mom would staple sheets of notebook paper, computer paper together, and I would write stories and do the illustrations, and I've been doing that since I was 6, and I have this huge Tupperware in my basement. I've written about it before, how I should probably burn it all. It contains like 100 pounds of paper, like every story I've ever written. So really, I've been doing it my whole life, and I've always known I wanted to be an author.
And so is your novella inside that Tupperware?
We don't talk about the novella.
I've decided I'm going to ask all questions about the novella.
Oh, great. Okay, do you know that there is one copy of that novella on Amazon right now? One copy, and it's going for like $4,000. I'm dead serious. You should look it up. Yes, because they realized that they're like the only copy of it. I was like, for this piece of crap.
Okay, who is selling it?
I have no idea. Some shyster.
Oh my god! What is it considered, a lost classic?
No, classic is not the right word for it. Maybe a classic failure. I think because they know that they're the only person with like a copy of this book in circulation. It's completely out of print, and yeah, but we don't need to talk about that.
That's so funny. Wait, so do you think it's somebody who was from our school that is selling the novella?
No, I think it's somebody who somehow ended up with a print-on-demand copy of it. I don't know. Hey, the Duchess Quest. This is
all I want to talk about is your novella, but I never remember. I never even remembered you did that.
Dude, you bought it and you read it. You were one of the first people who gave me a check for it. Yes, you did, Jake.
I have zero recollection.
Well, you were 14, so I forgive you.
Oh my god, I don't remember it at all. Oh, okay. Okay, so back to this current book.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about writing, going into writing, and then specifically for this narrative and these characters, when did this process start of kind of compiling the different psyches of the characters and thinking about where you wanted the story to go? Where did this project begin?
This project began, well, I'd always had an interest in Anastasia Romanov, the last Grand Duchess of Russia, and as we know, until her remains were found in 2006, there was still that rumor that she might still be alive, and that intrigued me as a kid, the Fox cartoon, Anastasia, and everything. I was really into that. And so I wanted to write a book about if the Lost Duchess really did survive and what would have happened, like if they would have sought her and who would have fallen in love with her. And then at the same time, I had this idea for a novel about three men who have to go on a journey together, but they all hate each other and can't stand each other. And one day, I just put the two ideas together, and the Duchess Quest just started unfolding.
Yeah, yeah. And so when it was completed and you look back at it, when you looked back at it, were you satisfied with this product? Like, did it match up with what you had envisioned it as a finished product?
Oh my God, it totally surpassed what I thought was going to happen with it. Like I really, when I started writing this book for real, like understand prior to this, I was just a hobby writer. I mean, I just wrote short stories or I'd
No,
write 50
you were a
pages of something.
published, you are the
Oh,
author of a
okay.
published Lost classic.
$10 off of that book. But no, that was not profit either. Like that, like because I had to spend like $700 to self-publish it,
Oh
and
God.
just to unless you edit all of this out, just to let people know what we're talking about. When Jake and I went to high school together,
Yeah. Yeah.
and when I was a senior, I self-published a novella about reincarnation.
The Lost literary classic
Yeah,
that is now
okay.
selling for that is now worth $4,000.
That is now worth $4,000. And yeah. So that's yeah.
We keep going back to your novella. I don't
Uh
remember
huh.
what I had asked you.
We
Um,
you were asking me about if the Duchess Quest ended up fulfilling my expectations of the
yeah, and
book
you
that I
say
set out to write,
so that's
and
really
it
nice that
surpassed.
it actually not only it exceeded your expectations.
Oh yeah, like I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I thought it was going to be sort of the simple process of you send like 100 submissions out there, and somebody's going to say yes. But it's like no, you have to rewrite a book like 50 times if you want it to get published because you can't have all this extraneous detail that no other reader is going to care about but you, and you have to pack a punch in every sentence. And so I learned the hard way through nearly 200 rejection letters, um, that you have to just completely keep revamping and recrafting.
Where were we? I don't remember. So so why did you choose a fantasy romance adventure?
Why did I choose a fantasy romance adventure? That's the type of stuff I like to read. Those are the kinds of movies I like to watch. So that's what I had the most knowledge of and experience with. So I just went with it.
Yeah, and also like I think I may have mentioned this in the last one or said it to you, but I feel like it's a very cinematic book. It's very visual. Um, like many of the works that younger people like us either produce or gravitate towards, it
Mm-hmm.
would lend itself very easily to a visual medium as well. So like a TV show or a movie, you see it so visual. Um,
Thank you.
so I think it definitely showed, and not only in Anastasia, but that movies did influence not only your plot ideas, but the way in which you conveyed imagery.
My dad, in particular, he passed down the love of film to me. So it's a huge part of my life, and it's a huge influence on me and on my work. And when I write, I'm basically seeing and hearing the characters in my head like they're characters in a movie, and I'm just transcribing it as I go.
Yes.
So yeah, it's kind of cool that that translates to readers as well, that they can recognize that that's what's inspired me and influenced me.
And so why don't you explain some of the main characters that readers, if they would choose to go out there and seek your next, your current literary classic, that's not selling for 4,000. It's actually quite a bargain in terms of your past releases. Why don't you give them a preview of some of the characters that they might be expected to find?
Okay, well, you're gonna find the Duchess, Dany. and she's 18 years old. She doesn't know that she was born of royalty. She's very cute and spunky, and also strong and curvy, and somebody who I feel that girls can relate to today. She's not, she's not Katniss Everdeen, tough as nails and stoic. I mean, she's emotional and sweet and vulnerable, but also strong and spunky and determined. So that's Dany, the Duchess, and then you have mainly her three suitors. So you've got the giant Boz, a very noble, kind of stiff, no sense of humor, but very respectable, noble man. You have Mac, who's a young guy, just kind of trying to find his place in the world, assertive, a little bit of a hothead, but a sweetheart at heart. And then, of course, you have my favorite, John, who is the rakish thief, kind of sarcastic, playboy, jerk, douchebag, if I can say
that. It's so infuriating. There were so many of these moments where I wanted to throw my Kindle at the wall and scream.
Thank you.
And so why don't you talk a little bit about, a minor character, but my favorite character, which is Shaylu.
Silu. I like your pronunciation of it. Shaylu is a pretty I would not thought that. I like that better than Silu. But
that character. Talk about that character.
I'm touched that you enjoyed Silu so much, Jake. Silu is a woman who disguised herself as a man, kind of Mulan-esque, so that she could participate in the quest to find the Duchess, because the quest is a very lucrative venture. If you succeed, you win 50 pounds of gold, as implemented by Dany's uncle, who put forth the quest. So anyhow, so Silu has disguised herself as a man to participate in this quest, much to the others' dismay. She gets chased off in the beginning, but she comes back into the story later and plays a very, very big role. So she's wonderful. She's kind of she steps in where Dany might be a little too emotional or vulnerable or young or naive. Silu is the seasoned, tough woman, badass, independent, and I'd love to hear what it is that you like so much about her. Why is she your favorite character, Jake?
I really wish I could tell you, but at this point, I really don't even remember. What I can't tell you is in as much detail as I probably did before. I like strong female characters.
Okay, that's what it is.
I like kind of not bad. Like the John the douchebag infuriated me, but she has kind of a roguish edge to her still.
Yeah.
Like she's not completely clean cut good. I mean,
right.
As you see in the story, she does become very much aligned with a certain group, but she's not she's sort of an ambiguous character. She's an ambiguous but strong female character, and I think that's the ones that and kind of icy, and that's the ones that I gravitate towards the most in literature,
That's awesome. Yeah, that you described it to a T. That's Silu, yeah.
Yeah. And so how many of these characters were based on people in your life?
Well, I don't necessarily base characters off of people deliberately or, consciously. I don't set out and say, I'm going to make this character after so-and-so. But bits and pieces of people I know are going to sneak into the characters, invariably. And so I would say the closest call would be Boz, the giant, is the closest to my husband, Jeff. Namely, blonde hair, blue eyes. Jeff is 6'9". So he's kind of a giant to me. I'm 5'1", and Jeff's a very upright guy. And what I found really entertaining is because I always kind of wanted to have a giant in one of my books that was not big and dumb and stupid. I wanted to have like a smart, strong giant. He's similar to my husband, and what I found entertaining was that when my husband was reading the story, he was having the same exact reactions to John's behavior that the character of Boz was having to John.
Oh
So,
my gosh, seriously?
but
That's so
oh
funny.
yeah, it was great. He hated
So that
John,
really
and
shows you kind of hit that psychological profile like
yeah,
perfectly.
yeah, totally, totally.
And
And
I'm
it
glad that
just it
and that's
totally
a
surprised.
great
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
point of these characters, they may, like John, be really, rakish, and they may seem superficial, but there is such a deep psychological profile that we see in almost all of these characters. And I wonder where that came from. Was that a conscious decision? And does psychology influence your writing to a large extent?
Very much so. Yeah, that was very much a conscious decision to put in. In our last interview, as you put it, they had daddy issues or mommy issues,
Oh,
and
did you say daddy issues? That's hilarious.
yeah, mommy issues. Yeah, yeah. I truly believe that whatever tragedies or things that befell you when you were young are gonna it's something you're gonna be battling for the rest of your life. And my characters are no different than real people in that sense. They're not. I did not set out to write a bunch of two-dimensional characters. Say any story, whether it's a movie or a novel or a TV show, anything that has two-dimensional characters where the bad guys are intrinsically bad and the good guys are intrinsically good, that always turns me off. There's got to
Yeah,
be
me
like,
too.
I want the villain to be sympathetic. I want to understand why the villain is the way they are, and to understand where they're coming from, and to almost feel like I can root for them if I were to look at it from a certain perspective. And the same thing, or the other way around, conversely with the good guys, I want them to be flawed. I don't want perfect good guys.
Well,
You
and
know,
you
I
actually, I mean, you give us such a compelling, unsympathetic protagonist with John. So
yeah.
it's like you reverse
Well,
that for
thank
sure.
you.
I think it almost was like a psychoanalytic novel in the sense that um, the story began and the psychological profile, especially the early events in these people's lives, were revealed to us like step by step, and I
Mhm.
feel like that really propelled it forward. And it really is this emphasis on childhood and the way that it created these complexes in the characters and how this played out in their lives in the future.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. And so my next question is, how important was genre to you when writing this book? And
Mm.
you said, okay, well, I'm going to include romance, I'm going to include adventure. Did you want to fit it into a specific box, or on the other hand, did you feel like you needed to transcend the genre?
Like I said before, when I started writing this, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I was unaware that I had to pick a genre if I wanted to write a book. I thought you just write a book and you throw in everything that you want in it and
Well, you
you make it.
didn't you know that from your classic novella?
Stop.
I can't.
Oh yeah.
Genre.
Again, I didn't pick a genre. I wrote the story that I wanted to write, and then I found out with like dozens and hundreds of rejection letters that they're like, well, your writing is really good, but we just don't know where to place this. Is it romance? Is it fantasy? Is it adventure? Is it for Is it just for women? Is it people didn't know where to place it, and so that was one of my greatest obstacles. And then, thank God, 4814, my publisher, they like books that transcend genres, and they say they don't publish cookie cutter books. And so um, when I submitted to them, I had this feeling that maybe they'll be maybe they'll be the ones.
You were talking about your publisher and how they don't like cookie cutter books. So if someone were to ask you, okay, well, obviously I think romance fans would enjoy this book, but if someone
Oh
were to
yeah.
say, okay, um, how is this book different than the cookie cutter romance books? How is this different than the Harlequin romance book?
Hmm. So how would I answer that? Um, And first, I want to say it's my dream to write for Harlequin someday. So, in no way am I like bashing them by saying that my book is different, or
Oh,
what I
I
mean.
didn't
It's
know
just
that. But they are
apples
cookie
and oranges.
cutter.
Oh no, that's cool. Well, like, yeah, they might be a little cookie cutter,
That's
but
kind of the point of them, though, you know?
but I gotcha. Yeah. My book is very different from a traditional romance. First of all, traditional romances are usually just told from the woman's point of view, and usually the man's point of view as well. Just the two people who are in the romantic relationship, or if it's like a love triangle, just the three people. My book is told from the perspectives of all different
And
characters.
we have
It's like,
actually a preponderance of male characters, which is so
yes,
interesting
it's
for this.
mostly male characters. I feel like I have like that dominant, male personality with all this testosterone that's trying to get out of me or something. So I have to write all these male characters. I don't that or daddy issues. I don't know, but but I love you, Dad. Um, but and the focus of the story is really the plot. With a romance novel, most publishers want the focus of the story, the plot, to be the romance itself.
Correct, yeah.
Romance is a huge part of my plot, but there is a lot of plot, and there's a lot of adventure, and there's a lot of other stuff that's going on, and a bunch of different characters. There's so much more than just the romance. However, I really enjoy writing romance, so going forward with my future work, I am going to be writing things where the romance is much more streamlined and centered. But in this particular book and in its sequel, there's a much bigger plot going on as well. So that's how it differs from a traditional paperback romance. Yeah.
And like, if I could, yeah, now if I can add more, I mean, there's so much. Romance is, a, like you said, a big part of this. But in my opinion, there's so much action. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're someone like me, who I mean, I don't think I've read really a romance book before. Maybe I've
Sure.
like I read this one because it was disguised as historical fiction, and that's what I thought it was. So I was reading through this, and by the third time I hit the phrase "his throbbing cock," I was like,
Oh
"This is
my
a
god.
normal historical fiction book."
They call it like a heat level when you're submitting to like romance novels. So, it's like if there's not any graphic sex, it's called a sweet romance.
A sweet
Or
romance?
sweet romance. Yeah, like my book, there's a little bit of sex, but it's only like a couple. It's like two paragraphs, and it's
Like
not graphic.
intimations of sex.
It's very, well, yeah. Well, yeah. There's a lot of innuendo, but the actual sex itself in my book is very tamely described. I don't use any graphic words, um, so that my book is classified as a sweet romance.
Yes. Even though
And
like that, I mean, while it, by that definition would be sweet romance, but sweet romance I don't think describes this book at all because there's
well, the
action,
romance the
fighting,
romance in this book is
pulsing,
sweet,
and
but there's,
conniving,
yeah,
and things are like on fire and sinking, and
kaboom.
so sweet romance. I mean, it sounds
No,
ridiculous.
if you were to classify just the romance in my book, it's
Yeah,
sweet romance. It's not spice. It's not like erotic or anything.
yeah, yeah. So
That's what I
no,
mean.
it's
But
interesting. I've never heard
yeah,
that industry term sweet romance.
really.
So
Well,
like,
now you know.
so do the readers like know to like look for sweet romances, or like are people like into that and they know, or is that just an internal industry term?
Um, I think, well, I know it's an industry term. I think some readers are savvy to it, especially if they're sensitive to, they don't want to read anything dirty or erotic, if they're going to give it to a young person or if they're religious or something. So I think some readers are savvy to it. Not all publishers or books will disclose what level of heat it is, but certainly when you're submitting a manuscript, you to a romance publisher, you have to specify the level of heat, because I did submit to Harlequin and Karina and Avon and all the big ones, and but my book was actually
Avon is
it was
great.
too male. It was too male oriented, and it was too much action and too much plot for them.
But you know
They
what?
just
At the end of the
wanted
day, I
romance.
mean, I mean that's a disappointment, of course, and I'm sure that was not what you were hoping for. But at the end
Oh,
of the
but
day,
I'm thrilled to be with 4814.
but those rejections, to be honest, I feel like it's a compliment to your work because you were not
Oh,
looking to. I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but I don't. It doesn't seem like you were looking to create something that had already existed before.
Oh, that's a great point. Yes, I did want to tell something original for like as many maybe subtle references or whatever to so many movies and books are in there. I did want to create something original, yeah. So you're right.
Um, yes or no?
Okay.
Do you agree that this book is a collage pastiche of Star Wars, the Russian Revolution, Anastasia, and Harry Potter?
Well, yes.
That's exactly why people should read it.
Exactly. Well, the funny thing is, a lot of people say, "Oh, I can tell how Harry Potter's influenced you so much," and it totally has.
It's like, of course, you know.
I mean, of course, my whole generation, and I was the biggest Potterhead there ever was. But there is no magic in this book. It's a fantasy in that it
There's
takes
no
place
magic
in a
in this book.
fantasy. Right. It's fantasy in that it takes place in a completely fictional
It's only the
land.
magic of
There is
romance.
no magic. Oh yes, it's the magic of love and transformation and friendship.
Sorry, I'm going all over the place. Anyways,
All
so
over the place.
so let's talk about your publisher. You've mentioned them multiple times. Is like, are they called like 4157?
Close.
What is it?
4814. I absolutely love my publisher. When I saw them and I saw that they didn't want cookie cutter, yeah, cookie cookie cutter novels, and
Do
they
you want an
wanted novels.
opportunity to start this over again?
No, I don't care. Whatever. um,
I know you.
when
I know you specifically said you didn't want to look like an idiot.
I think I've already surpassed that point.
Well, and me with my like obsessing
With my
over your
$4,000
novella and like
novella.
taking this conversation so far
Off.
off truck. I don't know. Off truck.
No, the Great Lakes pronunciation would be Astriak. Astriak, Jake. That's how my husband talks. He goes, he'd be like, "No, you're going way Astriak."
That's how he talks? Oh my god, lovely.
It's adorable. Oh, crap, they only do ebooks. And then, so I get an email after months and months and months of wanting to kill myself because I've been getting so many rejections. And I will tell you, of those 7 publishers, they were my first choice. The moment I found out that they did print books too, I mean, their artwork, their presentation, the type of genre they were my first choice. And I had gotten so used to rejection at that point that, part of me didn't really believe it, but, that I could get my first choice publisher. But it was really, really amazing after so much rejection and so many months and rewriting the book 50 times and all the criticism and all the hard work. It was the most amazing experience of my life to get their offer letter. I couldn't tell you a number of how many times I had to, rewrite it. I mean, it was probably like 1,000, I'm serious.
1,000?
I mean, seriously, I had to edit it down from 165,000 words to 90,000 words.
And okay, and so follow up for that is, do you feel that, and this is good because I don't think we covered this last time, but do you feel that the book lost any of its essence or value in that transition?
Not at all. In fact, it packed more punch and was more streamlined and was a stronger representation of the story by being shortened down and pared down.
Condensed.
It's condensed. It's a much better representation. I'm so happy that it is the way it is, and I'm so happy nobody accepted it the way that it was.
Yeah, so your story is really like a vindication of the editing process in general,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so another numbers related question, is the exact number 200 rejections?
The exact number is 164 rejections.
Looking back on that, does that still reside in your mind as kind of in your reference for who you are as an author? Like, does it affect the way you look at yourself?
164 is my number. You really pour your heart in everything you are and everything that you ever were is in this material. And so when you hand it out to people and you are, hoping that they'll like it, and you get rejected over and over and over again and told you're not good enough, it's like it's like they're rejecting me as a person. It was a wake-up call that, like, look, you are not the best writer on earth. You're getting
Well,
rejected
and
by everybody
having
in
a
the system.
novella age, an obscure novella age from, you know, the depths of being unknown to aging and gr- multiplying in value like a piece of fine art, especially because there's one copy around. It's really. Do you feel like you can relate to an artist like Picasso or something? If somebody said to you, all of those rejections was a good thing because it helped you find because those other publishers, they were not the place for you, they were not the home for you,
Right,
they wouldn't have been nurturing
right,
to you, and they wouldn't have been the
right.
right fit for your product or even been willing to market
Exactly,
it. So really, it was good that you got
exactly.
those rejections from some other, from Harlequin and some other mainstream
Oh
publishers.
God,
What would you say to
yeah.
that?
Oh God, yeah. It's so true. It was all in God's perfect timing. If they would have wanted to see the manuscript at that time, or they probably would have rejected it because at that time it wasn't ready for them. I had to go through all those months
Absolutely.
of rejection and editing so that by the time 4814 was doing print books and by the time she got around to my submission and wanted to see the rest, it had been reworked into something so much better that it was very much a timing thing on both of our parts.
It's a very kind of spiritual parallel
Yes,
in that sense.
it was. It was a huge
um,
spirit. It was like a spiritual experience for me. I will say it was about as painful as giving birth.
I absolutely, and that totally makes sense because so much of yourself, like your psychological, emotional, and creative self, was invested into this, and that not only
Totally.
that, but it probably felt like an extension of you, and it probably still
Oh
does.
God, yeah, yeah. It's like exactly like when my sister first read it. She was like the first person after my husband that I let read it, and after she finished it, I was like, I feel like I slept with you now. Like it's so intimate.
You
Like
said what?
there's something.
Can you repeat that? I think I misheard what you said.
I told my sister that it felt like I slept with her after she read my book, and
Congratulations on that. And congratulations
oh,
on enduring through this entire process. You had a lot of tenacity. There were a lot
thank
of
you.
obstacles, and you were able to channel some of your obsession into being able to refine it. A lot of people wouldn't have been able to do that, and you are. I mean, of course, you were at 16. You were a published author, but you are a published author as an adult, and that's such an
Thank you.
accomplishment. And I know everyone that knows you is so proud of you, and
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
proud of you, and I totally enjoyed
Oh,
this work, and I'm honored to be able to have this discussion with you again, and I'm honored that you provided me with a copy of the book. I have to say thank you for a variety of things.
oh, well, thank you so much.
And so we are in the last 10 minutes. I know it goes by so quickly.
Oh my gosh.
So if somebody's like happened upon this and they're like waffling, why should they read this book?
They should read this book because it's something that will bring light and joy and humor and love. It's not the type of dark book that's just going to feed into all the dark stuff in the world that's already out there. This is the type of book that will take you on a journey and is really from the heart. This isn't something superficial. This isn't something I pumped out for a paycheck. This isn't certainly, we authors don't
Yeah,
do
because
it
this
for the
totally
money.
not would have been because I mean, sorry to break in again, but
No,
this is not for the kind of the most mainstream part of publishing and media and kind of the traditional outlook. This is like the antithesis because it's not easily defined. We talk
thank
about
you.
genre
Yeah.
on here, but it,
Mm-hmm.
it, it transcends genre. But at the same time, that is not for a lot of outlets. That's not the easiest to market. You know.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think you should read it because there will be something for you in there. There's something for everybody in there. There's something for guys, there's something for girls. There's plenty of action and intrigue if you like political type of thriller stuff, if you like big explosions, if you like romance, if you like love triangles, if you like, I mean there's something for everybody.
There's allusions to
And
history. You know, it's a very
Yeah,
psychological
there's
novel. We said almost a psychoanalytic novel.
people have even called it a historical romance, even though it's not
Yes.
historical, but it's the
And
fictional
with
area that
some
it takes place.
allegories to the French slash
Yeah,
Russian Revolution. I
yeah,
mean,
many.
it would be. I kind of agree with that. I mean, it's not our
Yeah,
history, but it's somebody's history.
right,
You know.
right. It takes place. It takes place in an era that is very old-fashioned, and people will recognize it at once as almost, it's almost like Renaissance, but then sometimes it's almost like Enlightenment, or it kind of straddles
Yeah.
like different
Yeah.
Earth time period, or Revolutionary Russia, Revolutionary France. I was influenced very heavily
Yeah.
by
I mean,
history. Yeah,
in my kind of like subjective experience of it, it's not like the era of history is not easily pinned down, but at the same time, it is so recognizable as this is not our Earth, but it
right.
is our Earth's history, if that makes sense. You know, like we can identify
Totally.
that.
Totally. Yeah, I think anybody that reads it is going to be able to identify it no matter. I mean, I've had people, who are elderly read it and love it, and people in kind of high school age or college age. I mean, just everybody, guys, girls, um, so there's something in it for everybody. And like I said, it's something that it's going to have a happy ending. It's a feel-good story. It is not the type of thing that's going to depress you or disturb you. Or there's nothing, graphic or horribly offensive, things like that. So
Yeah. Okay, and so also, if somebody's still on the fence, give the listener or viewer or potential reader, if they were to say, okay, if you like this book, or this book, you should read my book.
oh,
Just
oh
believe that
goodness.
if they liked those works, they're gonna like your work. I mean,
I,
we've already established that you are the Picasso of romance history books.
if you like Pirates of the Caribbean, Anastasia, if you like the character
Bingo.
development
Yes.
of Harry Potter,
Yes.
kind of the writing style. I'm not saying I'm as good as J.K. Rowling, but I'm just saying my writing style and my storytelling style with
Oh,
the
you're
humor and
beyond J.K.
everything is.
Rowling. You're at this point,
Oh,
you're
oh,
Chaucer. That's what I'm gonna say.
oh. Well, that's funny. My uncle told me that it reminded him of Chaucer of the
Really?
Canterbury Tales. Yeah, that's you're the second
No,
person
because
to
you
tell
don't
me
use the
that.
word cunt as much as Chaucer did.
Oh my gosh.
It's the truth. He used it a lot.
I don't use the word at all.
And so, where can they find your book, and how can they purchase it? And if they would like a physical copy, I know I asked this last time, but if they order a physical copy through you, will you sign it?
Okay. So let's start with how you can purchase it. You can go to anywhere that sells books, Barnes and Noble, Books A Million. Unless you're in Ellicott City, Maryland, it's not going to be in the store. You'll have to order it at the desk and get it shipped to the store. It is in the Ellicott City Barnes and Noble because hometown represent. Um,
I know. I wish we
but
would have been able to talk about that because I'm obsessed with that Barnes and Noble because that's the one you got locked in. So it's only like
yeah,
the like expiation for that they would
we
stock your book.
we yeah, we covered me getting locked in the Barnes and Noble in the other podcast, the Lost podcast. But
I swear I'm
but
gonna get that back one day. I will
yeah,
not rest
when
because
you
it was
do,
good.
I know, get that back because that was really good. I mean, they're both good. They'll complement each other. We'll have a
Yeah, and I
video.
was
We'll have
thinking, you know what? Because I appealed. This is just a digression. I'm gonna edit this out probably, but
audio.
this is just so you
Okay,
know. I
sure.
appealed to YouTube and Warner Music Group, and they said they'll get back to me within 30 days. And I like detailed like it was only on the satellite, and you can't hear it, and I wasn't posting music, and if you look at it, you'll know. So I
Oh,
think by the
awesome.
end of the
Yeah.
year, they might actually give me back my audio,
If they do, that would be awesome. Because
and I would
yeah,
just
because
smash the two together, and it would be perfect.
in the audio, we talked a lot more about the content of the book itself. In this video, we're talking a lot more about the publication process.
Yeah, I
So,
agree. And they're
so,
both
so
super
and
important.
they're both interesting. Yeah, so it'll be great to have both of them if you're able to get the first one back. But yeah, you can order it from the front desk or from Barnes and Noble or BooksAMillion.com. Of course, it's on Amazon. It's on Kobo. It's available for the Kindle, Nook. It's in all the ebook formats, iBooks. Whatever e-reader you have, you can buy it in the ebook. It's more economical that way. but the paperback is available. Um, I don't currently provide a way to to order it through me and get a signed copy. Like my mother-in-law just sold like 5 signed copies of my books at a local venue in her neighborhood, and I have 2 signed copies um, in a giveaway up on Goodreads right now, actually. So
Oh, really?
if you go on Goodreads and you go and you type in the Duchess Quest or CK Brooke, I do have a giveaway right now. You can enter the giveaway. I'm giving out signed copies. I'm going to start holding more giveaways and things on Facebook and whatnot. So if you
Awesome.
follow me, that's a way to get signed copies. And of course, if I ever see you in person and you have your paperback with you, I will gladly sign it. But yeah, the book is available anywhere books are sold, in ebook and paperback. And it's actually currently on sale right now. The ebook is in
Oh,
the Nook
perfect.
and the Kindle versions for $2.99 now until New Year's.
Awesome. So it's like a holiday sale.
It is a holiday sale. All of 4814's titles are on the holiday sale. They're they're all the types of books that may transcend genre. They've got everything from romance to sci-fi. There's a bit of sci-fi, paranormal, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely check them out, 4814.com, and I'm on there as well. And then I just recently kind of did a little revamp of my website, and I have a new blog and everything, so ckbrooke.com. And you can find more details about my blog tour. I'm on tour right now until the 6th. All that good stuff on my website.
And so, do you like like syndicate this stuff or like repost this stuff on your social media profiles? Like,
Oh
you're
yeah,
on Facebook. Tell them
yep.
about that, where they can connect with you that way.
Yeah. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. The Facebook is like ck.brooke. If you actually go to my website, ckbrooke.com, my Facebook and Twitter feeds are on there, and there's a box to like or to follow. I'm on Goodreads. I'm on Pinterest. I'm around it's either CK Brooke or author CK Brooke. My Twitter handle is at author CK Brooke, and Brooke is with an E.
I I deal with this all the time. But anyways,
That's like
so is there
that's
anything else that you wanted to let the audience know about? So the sale, your Facebook page, you mentioned all of those. Um, I have two more questions for you. So one of them
go
is
right
serious and
away.
one of them is not so serious. So I'll give you the serious one
Okay.
first. Um,
Okay.
so someone who's listening to this out there or is saying, okay, okay, I want to do what CK Brooke did. I want to be an author. What is the greatest piece of advice that you would give them?
The greatest piece of advice that I would give them: everybody who has ever succeeded at anything has failed and been rejected and had to work their butt off. And now you might be lucky and you might not have to go through that experience, or you might have to pass through the fire to get there. But I guarantee you, if you don't give up and you never let anybody tell you that you're not good enough, and you take all the criticism that they give you to heart and you make every single change they tell you to make, you will get there.
Yeah, yeah. And so for the the second question, and this will be my final question before we have to end, but what would your
Okay.
16-year-old self think of this book?
Oh, that's a great question. My 16-year-old self would have loved this book. I mean, I wrote this book for my 16-year-old self. I set out to write the book that I had always wanted to read. So my 16-year-old self would be incredibly proud and would have absolutely loved it.
That's wonderful. That's awesome. Well, great. So I'm glad
Aw,
we can end on a happy note. This was wonderful to do this with you
yay!
again.
Me
Although, it
too.
really grinds my goat that we had to do this again. Hopefully, I
I
will
know.
work it out with YouTube, Google, and Warner, and I can get that audio back and put this into some sort
Yeah,
of compilation, and the full discussion can reveal itself. Because, like,
that'd be
like you
awesome.
said, like there were different things that we talked about, different emphasis on
Right,
both of them. So,
right.
but thank you so much for doing this again.
Of
Um,
course.
yeah, I want to congratulate you on your success,
Thank
and
you.
hope the holiday sale does its magic. And
I hope so too.
and congratulations on the uh, price inflation of past works. I guess I should congratulate you on that too.
Well, thank you, and I
So
hope
you're
you'll be
officially
happy.
part of the classics market. I hope you know that.
I guess so.
You don't sound like you're happy with your membership.
Uh,
I just obsessed the whole time about the novella. I don't even remember reading it. But anyways, okay. So,
Okay.
hey Brooke, thank you so much for being on. This is the word. My name is Jakob Music, Jakob Musick. I'm going to post this at my SoundCloud page, and you can find it at my Facebook page. The video version will be at my YouTube page. Audio will be at SoundCloud, and hopefully, maybe if I can get it, the audio from the last audio and video from the last interview, that we could provide that as well and make it into some sort of compilation. But if not, I feel like this discussion was good as well. So thank you very much for coming back. And
Thank you.
if you have any comments or questions or want to get in touch with me, you can find me at my Facebook page. It's Jakob Music. And if you have any questions for CK Brooke, you can either send them to me and I'll pass them to her, or you can visit her on her Facebook page. And thank you so much for listening or watching. And I hope you have a great day full of peace and blessings, okay?
Oh, can you still see me?
Yes.
Okay, I can't see you.
You can't see me?
No, I can. Like, I just went out of the window, but the window is still up, so I'll be able to see you again in a second.
Okay.
I like your cat ears.
That volume's good.
Or, you know what? Maybe my microphone, maybe if I get closer to the computer, do I sound a little better right now?
Well, I mean, it's okay.
It's okay?
Oh, actually, hold on. This is control room.
Okay, cool. Okay.
We're good. Not that I remember and know what I'm going to do at all, but it's whatever.
You'll do great. It says we're live.
There's no music on.
Good. Don't do it again.
Okay, do I look normal?
You look normal.
Okay.
I love your glasses, by the way.
Thank you.
They're
Do you know the
adorable.
real story of? Oh, I wear them like every day now. Do you know why I have to wear them every day now? Because I lost my tweezers, and so my unibrow is growing back.
You know, tweezers are like really cheap at the dollar store, right?
I know. You know what the worst? I know I'm just too lazy to go there. You know what the
You're
worst?
awesome.
Those tweezers were given to me by my sister as a gift.
Okay.
She was like,
Oh.
"You need these."
Oh God, that's mean. I don't remember you having a unibrow.
Believe me, it's a long story. Yeah, at one point when I was in GPS, I think you were gone. What year did you graduate?
07.
Yeah, so you were gone already. So it was the year after you were in my homeroom, and my sister used to tease me so much, and I didn't have like a real unibrow. It was just like a little bit in there. She teased me so much to the point where I was trying to get rid of it, and I accidentally shaved off like all my eyebrows.
Oh, my brother did that one.
Yeah.
And he went around with no eyebrows.
So bad.
That's terrible. That's cruel sisterhood.
Oh, she's so mean. Okay.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. Let me just. Is that too bright?
I think that's actually much better.
Okay. For me personally, my self-published endeavors don't count, but because they were.
What's the name of your novella?
How about I finish answering the question?
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
I knew you'd remember. I know. It's like, let's just call this interview CK Brooke's novella. You know, I'm not going to tell anybody the name that's published under. published under a version of my maiden
Waiting
name.
for $4,000 on Amazon.
Yeah, buy it, and I'm not going to see a dime of that either.
Wait, are you saying your novella is not worth $4,000?
Well, to some people it might be. To you it might be, Jake. I'm not sure. But no, yeah, my book has
novella.
Wait, what about the novella again?
So were daddy issues also behind your novella, your classic $4,000?
No, no, I don't know what was behind that novella. Just being 16 and not knowing anything. But but no.
When you wrote it,
I was 16.
Oh, you were 16. Wow, that is crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
$4,000 classic. It's aged like a fine wine. Do you realize that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's that going to be when you're 80?
I had to write a letter. I'm not gonna reveal the company that I self-published it with, but I had to write a letter to them explaining why I wanted it to not be in print anymore. And so my reason that I provided was that the work no longer reflects my current aptitude. I don't want it tarnishing my good name.
It felt like it was personalized to the point where it was just my accent. I don't know. Like I didn't even think about it,
What kind of accent do you have, Jake? You don't have an accent.
Everyone has an accent.
Okay.
It's true.
What kind of accent do I have? What's funny is when I'm back in Baltimore, my Baltimore comes out, but when I'm up here in the Midwest, you hear my Great Lakes are from the Minnesota and Canadian, like hoops in a boat, like
where are you again?
I'm in Detroit.
Oh, you're in
Michigan.
Detroit. Really?
Yeah. Well, I'm not in Detroit. B-R-O-O-K.
With an E?
There's an E on the end.
B-O-O-K-E. I love that. That's
great. B-R-O-O-K. Yeah, Brooke is actually Brooke.
Book. Oh my God. Sorry. Clearly, I'm like half asleep, but also.
Well, I know you just got back from work, so I totally understand. No, Brooke is actually my middle name.
I'm like, what? It's also because it just reminds me, like, I'm not in normal life. Like, I am young, but I can't hear anybody. And I was like, what? And that's the reason you were hearing the feedback, because I had to turn it up. Oh, ow. Back to my microphone. I just had to turn it up so loud just to be able to hear it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and I hope we can totally do it again when my next book is out in like February.
Oh, see, that's the thing. We forgot to talk about that.
But I'll definitely keep you posted.
Okay. Oh, and let's totally do this. That would be so fun.
Yeah, we'll do it again. And I have a third one too. After that. And so yeah, we'll do. You'll be my first stop for all of these.
So
freaking fun.
So awesome. And it would be even more fun if you could come to Maryland to do like some promotional events. That would be so cool. Like visiting the store where you got locked in. Like that would be amazing,
They have certainly told me that anytime I wanted to come and do a signing, I'm only going to be there for like a day and a half. But yeah, I'll definitely keep in touch. And this is fun. And yeah, and that would be great if you were able to get the first audio. We had a compilation. Very good. You did awesome, especially for having just worked like an 8-hour shift. I mean, seriously, kudos, dude.
I know I was a little bit out of it. I know I kept.
No, you're great. You're actually hilarious.
Because I know you don't like to talk about it, but. And also the fact that my memory is so shitty, I don't remember reading a single page of that novella.
I could have sworn I even got like an email from you at my GCS account about it.
I can't believe that novella is selling for $4,000. That's like a racket.
It's some idiot like that notices that they're the only one with it. You know what I mean? Like it's just somebody like being ridiculous. I have no idea why.
You're in the classics market, and it is aged. And is aged like a fine wine. No! Oh my God. Okay. I have to go get ready for my bedtime, so
Me too.
I'll let you go. But
okay, Jake.
I hope your family's doing well.
You too.
Yeah. For me again, and
thank you. I'm good at manifesting shit, dude.